Did it go?
Not yet. It'll pop up in a separate window. So honestly, minimize Zoom.
We doing sharing thing that box?
So it has to stay.
There it is.
So we're good. We're live now.
Good now. Right here.
Yeah, we're good.
So I'm gonna X out of this.
Yep. You can X out of it, and now he's good to share his screen. He probably, that's probably like what happened to his screen.
Okay, Bo, you can share your screen again. We had a little snafu. Good morning, everybody. Can you guys hear us?
We need a human.
Hello.
Morning, sunshine.
And there we are.
Hi.
Can you see us or me?
Ken.
Yes, we can see. Yeah, we can see folks.
I can see Southern Indiana.
Let's go.
I can see Seven Hills and Louisville. Wow, it's a full house. Good morning. Oh my gosh,
You know when it's on?
I hope you guys brought paper and pen today. We have got a packed meeting.
A lot of stuff.
And we are going to, I think we're going to just jump in and get started. We've got a fun video to show you guys to kick us off. So hang on to your hats here.
Hanging on.
My name is Shemaya Nath. I am 22 years old. I live in Oklahoma City, and I'm a wealth advisor primarily for a select group of professionals and small business owners who, among other things, aspire to live a work optional lifestyle. The mission for my life is to empower others to live financially wealthy lives by educating them on finance and reforming their relationship. Like 20 priority. And they're like, no, cross that off, cross that off, cross that off. What's most important out of these to get that goal done? Well, we met every week and it was, so did you do this on Monday like you said you're going to? Did you do this on Wednesday? Did you do this on Friday? And just having that type of accountability was really helpful and key in helping me, accomplish the goal that I had in mind. So when I work with my clients now, that's something that I even implement in my process when I'm working with them, is helping them identify their life mission and then making sure that they're financially wealthy enough that they can fulfill that life mission. Donors, I definitely just want to say thank you. Thank you for having a heart of generosity. Thank you for helping me on the path to fulfilling my own life mission, and just all of the resources and the guidance that KW Next Gen has provided me. I know it wouldn't be possible without you guys.
Wow. Okay. So just quickly, you guys, I want to remind you all. This is our QL event. It was rescheduled for April 5th. So we're coming up on about a month out. And that was a story. That was Shemaya, 22 years old. Anybody in the room speak like that when they were 22 with that clarity on their personal life mission? I know I didn't, and we wanted to gift this to you all and have an opportunity for you to impact the people that you care for. So again, if you haven't registered, we have 100 seats. It's free for the young adult. And if you're someone passionate about impacting young adults' lives, you can come and be certified to be a Quantum Leap next generation instructor. So the people that attend will qualify for 90 days of free coaching and up to $10,000 in grants. So I just wanted to get this back on our radar because we did reschedule that for weather. And we are going to kick off today by hearing, we're going to do some fun family reunion stuff today, but we're going to kick this off by having each one of our team leaders share some of their key takeaways from family reunion. And then as we get through the slides, we'll have some opportunity in your local market center for panels and takeaways as well. So who wants to go first? Kristen, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's start with you. Your picture's up first.
I love it. Can you hear me?
We can.
Everybody? Perfect. I was thinking about this and I thought about all the amazing breakouts and speakers that we saw and experienced, but my biggest takeaway and aha from the family reunion experience is what I've talked about with our group previously on how important family reunion has been for me to build my referral business. So it's always been a networking opportunity. That's what I go for, right? I always have over the years. And this time around just reminded me how important that has been. I have been fortunate enough to work with Heidi Four. So I've met people within the Keller Williams organization because of her. Now I'm fortunate enough to work with Tara Smith. So I now have opportunity to meet other people within Keller Williams universe, right? And as I've been building those relationships, something happened at family reunion that I've been so excited to see. And it was a matter of having a conversation with the spouse of one of our top agents
Mhm.
and talking to her about what I would like to see for his business. And I gave some examples of what going to family reunion, mega camp, coming into the office can do for your business. And as I was doing it, I see Cody Gibson across the room. And I'm thinking, I need to put him with him. How do I make that happen? Well, now I've got a bit of a relationship with Cody Gibson because I've been put in the room with him a few times, right?
Mhm.
Because of the people I know. I was able to, as Cody walked by, grab his arm and say, I want you to meet someone, put the two of them together, and they have a conversation. And that gentleman who never would have had a conversation with the Cody Gibson is now going to be on his podcast.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
massive. That is massive because that realtor put himself in the room. He's successful. He put himself in that family reunion atmosphere, put himself in the room. I keep putting myself in the room. And because of that, we now have these two together. And who knows what that's going to do for his career? That's the kind of stuff. So that's my aha. My aha is that I've been doing this correctly, that having conversations and getting into relationship with people all over is important. So that's all I wanted to share. That was
I
it.
love that. Kristen,
Yeah.
what I heard was just a quote. I think this is from the class Fierce Conversations. Not every conversation will change your life, but any one conversation can. And I know the two people you're talking about, and that is a life-changing conversation in the works. And so thank you. Yeah, the relationship, like we're back to relationships right out of the gate with these events, which is so cool. Okay, Joseph Miller, are you ready?
Yeah, hey there. I think I've got my camera on now. I had a couple takeaways. Family reunion, this is my third one. And what I'll say about what my takeaway, I had a few. Actually, really, I had a lot, but I know we're crunched on time and we've got 4 market centers here, so I'll just share the highlights. Number one, this feels so simple. And you're going to probably have heard it in a self-help book or a book around discipline, or maybe you've heard David Goggins say it or someone like him. But stop hitting the snooze button was a major takeaway for me. I have my alarm set for 5 a.m. every morning. If my child has not yet woken me up, my alarm will at 5. And if I'm given the opportunity, I hit my snooze button about 5 or 6 times. And I don't know if you all are like me, but I don't think I'm the only one in the room that struggles with a snooze button. But one of the coaches in a breakout called Win the Morning, Win the Day, her name is Jeannie Osnes, and she started reframing what hitting the snooze button is actually doing. And it wasn't until she reframed it to where I had my epiphany, right? She said, why would you start your day with procrastination and not momentum? And for me, that was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I've been doing when I hit the snooze button. And when am I hitting the snooze button in my personal life or in my business life? That if I just got into momentum or into action, I'm not starting with procrastination. And so now for me, procrastination means something different. So like if I'm in my work day and I'm procrastinating, I guess I'm just sitting with a snooze button on that task that is so important that I'm not doing, right? And so for me, it was, like I said, super simple, but I think could be really transformative if we allow it to be. So why would you start your morning with procrastination when you can step out of bed with momentum, right? My second takeaway, and then I'll be done because I know other people have to share, was the keynote speaker, Jamie Kern Lima. She wrote a book about being worthy. And this is somebody who started out waitressing at Denny's and then wound up being the CEO of L'Oreal and sold her IT Cosmetics company to L'Oreal for $1.2 billion. So this is a self-made billionaire. And she was talking about how she, for the longest time, did not feel worthy, but there was this deep knowing within her. And she talked about getting so many no's or rejections. And she said, oftentimes, rejection is God's protection. And then went down and talked about how 80% of all women feel that they are not worthy or have what it takes. And 73% of all men believe the same thing. And so I started asking myself, how can I show up in a way that I instill belief in others, right? And give them maybe what they don't have yet and the encouragement that they have what it takes. So knowing that 80% of all women and 73% of all men struggle with the feelings of being inadequate or not being worthy, how are we showing up in what we know is a relationship business, right? So those were my major takeaways.
Awesome. Love that. Thank you, Joseph. Really good. Okay, Jessica, you're up.
Thanks. I loved a lot of the keynote speakers that came in. I think in the year and a half of doing this, the biggest factor that I see between the agents that are killing it and the ones that aren't is their habits and their belief in themselves. And this was literally reiterated in every conversation that was had at every panel. And so one of the things that I took away, most agents that are high achievers are fast. You're going to move and you're going to run in a direction without necessarily thinking about where you're going. And so they said your habits determine the quality of your life. So not telling you to slow down, but sometimes you have to slow down to gain the information and knowledge that you need to actually achieve what it is that you want to achieve. And those habits are going to determine the quality of your life. And that really spoke to me just in seeing how you guys operate and whether you're a single agent just in the business or a huge team. The other thing, I mean, there's a ton of things that I loved, but one of the other pieces that Joseph hit on when he was talking about Jamie, she talked about you legitimately doubt yourself more than anybody else ever will. So all of the stories that you're telling yourself of the things that you can or cannot do, that's you, that's not anybody else. And she said, you legitimately can doubt yourself out of your destiny. And I thought that is so powerful because we think about what we tell ourselves on a regular basis. And Jimmy can probably attest to this. Like this is literally a 360-degree shift in the way that I view the world. And it was so refreshing to see all of these key leaders and other businesses diving into the same practices that Gary Keller teaches and then brings with all of our MAPS coaches and team leaders. And then she talked about in 5 years, the doubt that you have in yourself, what is that costing you? So she had us sit there in silence and she's like, think about you 5 years from now and that self-doubt that you're continually telling yourself every day. You're blocking your blessings. You're the one standing in your way. And then she said, now 10 years. And then she's like, put your age today and add 15 years to that. Think of all of the things that you don't believe that you can do that you actually can do. And literally that is the difference when I look at our agents that are legitimately hitting their goals and the ones that are not. It's because they haven't attached the belief that they can do it to the why of why they're in the business. I just thought it was phenomenal. And if you have not gone to family reunion or a mega camp, start saving money. Will's got an account set up that can help come out of your commission checks. There's a ton of other things I could say, but I think those were the most powerful. And then there was one person that spoke about that clients associate all agents as being the same. Doesn't matter if you've delivered 100% experience or something that like they forget and then you're all the same. So we talked about we live in an instant gratification society and the way they start to value you is how quickly you respond, how kind you are, and the information you're providing them. So he made a suggestion of going and like for your business and saying, these are the 3 ways that I'm quick in responding. These are the 3 things that I'm clear about explaining. And these are the ways that I'm kind to my clients. And if you tap into those, your business will take off and you'll have more clients than you know what to do it.
That's so good. That's so good. I was thinking about, we're not used car salesmen, but I was thinking about me going to buy a car and I pull up on the lot and I'm like, I just want to buy a car today. Just somebody walk out and sell me one. And if we think about the consumer and how they see all of the real estate agents when they need something, they're just like, I just need a salesperson, but we're not all built the same. So that's a really good, that was a great takeaway. Okay, Misty Stanley, you're up. Wrap us up with some takeaways. Okay, so I'm gonna piggyback on Jamie's speech. What kept her going and allowed her to sell to L'Oreal for the $1 billion was that she trusted her intuition. And she knew that this is what she was aligned with, and so she just kept at it, no matter how many no's that she got, she kept going, no matter what. She was so persistent, right? So I was in a panel on the database, and all of them really said that it wasn't until they really got aligned with their one form of lead gen that they just felt so comfortable in and they knew was right for them. That's when their business took off as well. So if you're doing something for lead gen that doesn't feel right within you, it's probably just not meant for you, right? And there's a million other things to do. And I would say that was one of my biggest takeaways. I want to make the database easier for agents and just more accessible. I think it is the thing that everybody knows they need to do. And it's also the thing that we struggle to do consistently. So to help agents get that value piece at least once a month, do the client events, that's going to be a big focus for us this year. And then I think Gary's called 2025, the year of the appointment. And he said, if you're not hitting the appointment, I don't know why we're talking about anything else unless it's fear. I said, so if there's fear in the room and fear is what's holding you back from doing the lead gen, making the calls, whatever that is, we need to discuss that. But it all comes down to the appointment. I think it's real simple. Love that. Hit the appointment. Yeah, and we can control that, right? Like that is one thing when you talk about winning your day and being resilient, like you can control how many appointments you have. You can decide and fight your way to them. So thank you, Misty, for sharing that. Thank you guys for all sharing that. I want to share a win with you right before we jump into numbers. And you guys may have seen this on my Facebook page. But as Misty, you were saying that you were talking about appointments and doing the work, and it's not always easy. And yet it's like things also fall into our lap and good things happen on the journey of doing all of the right things. And so if you guys didn't see this, I came into the office yesterday and there was a note on my desk and it just said, anything is possible. And it was a picture of this commission check, which is one of our KW Commonwealth agents, and his commission, of course, he's capped, right? His commission was $425,000.
What I think is funny though, your first question was, hey, who sold that deal for like 25 grand? Because you can't see the 4 under the dollar sign.
Yeah, I did. And then I read it because I was waiting on this. So you guys, if you don't know, I'll go back to Jessica. Anything is possible. And really, there's all kinds of amazing things out there, and it's happening in your small world of our companies right here with agents that you probably know already, and it may be referring business to. So I thought I would share that huge win. And as we jump into vision speech slides, which is going to be a lot of data, I would grab your pen and paper, because at the end of the meeting today, we're going to ask you to go online and share some type of statistic to be entered into a chance to win. You can either have lunch with Bo and I to talk about, you can have lunch to talk about anything you want to talk about, or we will give you $100 gift card to go have lunch or dinner with your family. So we're going to walk you
with someone other than us. That's what you meant to say.
Lunch with us or lunch with someone other than us.
There's an option there. Like, no.
So, but you will need some data to do this. So as Bo starts to jump into the slides, be writing down some key numbers that you might want to share with your clients or regurgitate after the slides today. So this will be at the end as well, but the entire vision speech slide deck. So if you want to scan this and follow along, you're welcome to. And then we also are giving you guys the NAR profile of home buyers and sellers. So those both will be included in your slides today. So Bo, you want to kick us off?
Yep, we'll get going. So, so guys, I'm gonna roll through this, and there's a couple things I want you to understand. There's going to be a component to this time together where there's going to be things in here that you can learn, right? It's things you're going to learn, things you're going to take away. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Those 2 QR codes will take you much deeper into this information. I'm not going through every single slide from the slide deck. We've got to gain this knowledge because that's what gives us perspective. Now, here's the other piece. You're going to need some reps on it. Right? You're going to need some reps. There's some of these things that are going to speak specific to you and your business. And here's what I know. Most adults are, they're visual learners, right? It's the same thing when you're sitting down and you're talking with one of your buyer clients or maybe a seller client, right? These slides are some great graphics that speak volumes on things that might not be really easy. Think about us. We're in this business every single day, and sometimes this data gets a little bit lost. So, the slides are here. They're for you guys to use and incorporate into your business. So what drives our numbers, right? We hear people talk about a lot of different things, but at the end of the day, home prices, what drives our numbers in real estate? Home sales, right? How many homes we're selling, the price of the homes, total market volume, total sales, volume wise on everything. How much inventory do we have? That's a big deal. Mortgage rates, that's a big deal too, right? And then obviously affordability is going to be one of those things we talk about as well. Now, here's the thing. Some of these numbers, you can get a little bit granular with them into your local area, your state, your specific business. And yet at the same time too, we're going to talk today about the numbers as they reflect, the nation, right? At a national level. So annual home sales, right? Annual home sales. We talk about numbers, as I said, to gain perspective. Here's the thing. What are we looking at? Everybody's eye goes immediately to the right. So what are we thinking this year? You know what? It's probably going to be around about 4.2 million. So if you look at the last 3 years, 4.1, 4.1, 4.2 million sales. At the end of the day, it's going to remain relatively flat. Okay. It's going to remain relatively flat. Now, you'll hear people talk about the ebb and flow of the market. You hear people say things like, oh my gosh, the market's going to bottom out, right? Here's the thing you got to remember though. All right. The bottom, or I guess you could say when things are tough, it's never zero. The reason I stress that is it's 4.2 million homes sold in the United States. How many of you have a goal next year to sell 20, 30, 40 homes?
Can you guys hear Bo okay?
No, something changed. He's become muffled.
Okay, hold on a sec. Hold on 1 second.
Him moving his arms did it.
Oh,
Yeah.
no arm movement.
I can confirm it sounds different from where we're at.
Is it better now?
Can you hear it now?
It is better.
Okay.
Okay. Because I can talk louder.
I don't think that helps if you're muffled.
Oh, no, it's a louder muffle. So diving back in, if you look at it, we're talking a little bit about interest rates because that's a big piece of the puzzle this year when we talk about annual home sales. Guys, if interest rates move down a little bit, that 4.2 million that you're seeing for 2025, that's probably going to jump up maybe to about 4.5. Maybe we'll get to $4.5 million. So here's the thing you got to remember. Right now, in the world of home sales, in the world of real estate, we are the only industry that is technically in a recession. Okay. We're the only ones feeling it. Now, here's the thing. We always feel it first, right? We always feel it first. Now, what's the good thing about feeling it first? We're always going to be the first ones to lead us out, right? So when you think about some of those indicators and the things that are going on out there, everyone knows that, real estate's what's going to pull us out at a lot of different levels. What I love about these slides, even if you don't want to get super granular, it's a great visual when you start talking to someone that says, oh my gosh, I heard the market is just, wow, just absolutely just, cratering at every level. No, sir, that's not really true. No, ma'am, that's not what we're seeing. Right. So when we talk home sales is up next. Hold on a second here. Let me get my clicker. Let's look at prices. Right. So if you start looking at home prices, and this is one of those slides that probably needs to make it into your buyer and your seller presentations. Right. Because right now, if you look at it, there's a 4% trend line. Right. Long term. Here's the thing, 4% appreciation, right? Over time, what it looks like. Guys, look at '08 through 2021, right? Look at the difference there. See that dipping right there? Back in '06, we were 21% above the trend. Right now, today, we're 9.9% above the trend. Now, here's why that's important. Put it in layman's terms. Homes are not ridiculously expensive. It's still a great time to buy, right? The annual median home price, guess what? It's not that far out of whack. We're about 9-10% above where we would be if we just followed a 4% appreciation, okay? Prices annually, again, you're back to all the way to 1990, okay? '06 to 2011, yeah, that was a tough time, right? And yet, if you start to scroll down and you look at 2012 to 2019, about 6.4, 20 to 2022 is about 12.5, 23 to 24, we're about 2.7. We're predicting about 2.5 appreciation this year. So here's the two things to remember that, even if we look back 20 years, right, it's a small snapshot when we're talking about what's going on in our market right now. Because when you look at total market volume, here's the thing to realize is, agents are staying in the business. Remember when we had the conversation, we were talking about, oh my gosh, millions of agents are going to get out of the business. Go back to 2006, agent count 1.3 million. We saw a really big dip from 2007 to 2008. We lost about 140,000 agents. Okay. Now, again, look at that green dotted line, and then it starts to go back up. And then you start to see how much volume we're selling. Guys, our agent count is holding at about 1.5 million. That's pretty close to about as high as it's been. Not as many as 2022. And yet at the same time, too, guess what? We've still got a lot of people that are staying in this business, right? And what we've started to see now is, guess what? We're now starting to see more sales. So the volume is going up as well. So we haven't seen that mass exodus of agents that we thought. I believe it's because people still see the inventory in this industry. Inventory. Well, here's the thing. If you look at that balanced inventory line. Here's what we know, Mr. Seller, 6 months worth of inventory. That's a balanced market. That's dead smack dab in the middle. We got as far as we got up as high as 10.4, 10.8 if you go back in the 80s. Okay. And yet, where's the story to be told today? Well, since 2021, guess what? We've slowly been easing our way back up. Months of inventory over. We've now crossed over. We're halfway toward that balanced inventory mark of 6 months. So when you're talking to your sellers and people are talking about it, guess what? This isn't necessarily surprising, but yet at the same time, too, understand that, the market is trending up. Inventory levels are starting to build. That buyer's market, we will see that come, right? We will see that come. Interest rates, again, this is another great graphic. You don't have to start telling people, oh gosh, I remember, or tell a story about your parents or your grandfather or somebody that paid 16% and all that kind of stuff like that. Let them see this information. Let them see what's going on. Yeah, there was a historical low point that we hit down there in 2021. Why is that important to know? Well, guess what, sir? Ma'am, that 3% interest rate, that 2.875, here's the reality. Look back through time. Go all the way back to 1972. That was an anomaly. There were things happening in our world. There were things happening that allowed those rates to dip down and stay down. You look at 2012 to 2021. Pretty low, right? That 6% rate, though, guess what? That's a great interest rate, right? That's a great interest rate, 7.72. You've got another line on there. We're predicting in 2025, we're going to be sitting around 6.5, right? 6.5 interest rate, historically, it's a good rate. It's a strong rate, okay? So keep those things in mind, because here's the thing. People are still going to buy houses. Interest rates are a big deal, and yet at the core of it, what are we really talking about? We're talking about affordability, right? This is a cool little graph too, without getting super granular. You can look at it, you look at the historical average, 27%, right? 27% of someone's income, their gross income, going toward paying principal and interest. That's on their payment, right? Principal and interest. Well, guess what? 32% of someone's income in 2024 basically was going toward paying their house payment. So the affordability was actually there because we're actually at 32%. It's still very affordable. 27% from the dawn of time when they started measuring it. Interestingly enough, it's 20% since 1998. So you start looking at some of these historical averages, homes are still very affordable. The affordability is still there. Okay. And I know I'm ripping through this pretty fast, and at the same time too, make a note, take a couple snapshots. Guys, when you go into your presentation, you don't need to bring a 30-page slide deck. But a few of these slides probably need to be in your presentation or have them close at hand or maybe on your laptop so that you can sit and have a conversation when someone goes, yeah, man, interest rates are high. There's not much inventory out there, right? So there's a lot of events out there that we know are going to be super important. Sides per agent, volume, TCPA. Let me just go through some of these things right here because these are some of the things that you're going to hear intermittently. And yet at the end of the day, we know the things that are going to be matter the most to us as real estate. There's been a lot of economic things, risks in 2025. There's a lot of things that are unpredictable, way outside of our ability to control. In the world of real estate, guys, here's the thing. The cost of money, right, is a big deal. That's interest rate. We know that. Most people finance, right? Price of real estate. What's the price of homes doing? And then, of course, the employment numbers, right? We don't have to get into, and you might find yourself wanting to get into unemployment rates and different things like that. Here's what I know. When people have a great job, when their job is going really well, guess what? They start thinking about opportunities to maybe increase the size of their home, buy their first home, whatever that looks like as well. Okay. Sides per agent. This is a pretty important slide, right? We talked again a little earlier about the exodus of agents and where people are with that. Think about it this way, right? Go back to 2000, right? We added almost 600,000 agents. The sides per agent dropped from 13.5 to 7.5. Now, market was still strong. We were still selling real estate, okay? And yet the sides dropped simply because of the number of agents in the business. Now, you might want to write this down. Someone is calling your database. Is it you? Someone is contacting your database. Someone's marketing to your database. Someone is building relationships with your database. Is it you? Because here's what I'm going to tell you. If every agent was diligent in their database, if everyone worked their database and kept close tabs on them and really built relationships, it wouldn't matter if 600,000 agents got in the business because you'd have your database locked down. We're leaving the door open, right? People getting in and out of the business is outside of our control. Having a great relationship with your database, that is well within your control. So you go over here to 2008, guess what? We shed about 340,000 agents. And then all of a sudden, guess what? Sides per agent goes from about 7 up to a little over 9. Again, people getting in and out of the business, team, we can't control that. That's outside of our control. Okay, we can make the decisions to stay in. All right, so then you go over here and you look at, okay, 2013, guess what? We added another 456,000 agents. Sides per agent drops again from 9.8 to 5.4. 2025, we're predicting this to go up to 5.8. So here's my question for you. Are you driving the growth of your business? Are you driving the number of sides? Are you doing the activities every single day to drive the sales in your business? Or are you simply going to sit around and be the last person standing? Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with outlasting everybody. That's good. And yet, and I know we typically hold on to our agents at a higher level than most companies. And yet at the same time, too, we can't let our business be tied to just the ebb and flow of what's going on, right? Volume per agent. Now, here's an interesting one. We go back to the previous slide. You see we're down, right? 5.8. Here's the interesting thing. Our volume per agent, look at that from a historical perspective. 2.9. That's 2.9 million. So the interesting thing is that 2.9 million, go back. Let's see, 2022 was higher. 2021 was higher. And then we got to go all the way back to 05 and 04 to find a year where our volume per agent was higher. Guys, the reason it's up is because we don't control average sale price. So in a market where we're seeing agents write less transaction, the volume per agent is up. Guess what? That's a business. If you're running that play, your business is, you do not have your arms wrapped around it. Because what happens when prices fall? Does that mean your income gets cut? It's why we focus on activities. It's why we talk about appointments. Guys, you can't control your volume. You control the appointments that drive the volume. If you need to sell 20 homes, what's the volume tied to that? If it's 5 million, great. If prices go down, I might have to sell 30 homes. It's why we talk about the numbers daily. It's why our team leaders talk about their numbers daily. Appointments set, appointments held, agents hired. It's the same for a real estate agent. How many appointments did you set? How many did you hold? And how many agreements did you get signed? Buyer's rep agreements and listing agreements. That's our world, right? That's our world, because this number is fickle, right? Primary reason for people buying a home, guess what? Desire to own a home, desire to own a larger home. That's 32%. That's in 2024. I'm going to dive into these a little bit more when we get to some of the NAR stuff. Let's look at a quick snapshot here. 2023, 4.25 million. 2024, 4.88 million, right? Number of new listings hitting the market, right? So look at this. December of 2024, we're at 255, and you go over here to December, 211. Then we go to January 2024, we're at 325. This year, 2025, we're at 406. We're putting new listings on the market, guys. The inventory is continuing to show up. New listings are coming. We're putting them on the market. So, you know, if your thought is, man, there's still a shortage, there's not. There's a shortage. There's not a shortage of inventory. There might be a shortage of available inventory, but we've got to go get it. TCPA. Let's just condense this. I'll truncate this down for you. There are companies and law firms that have sprung up, right, that are basically making this part of their business plan, right? There's some things with the one consent rule and some different things like that. Guys, you have got to follow to TCPA and the do not call. Take the time. Don't use it as an excuse to not do the activity. Just build your platform and system around being compliant there, right? Listings with price drops. We can scroll all the way over to January 2025, 31% of them. Now, here's what's interesting. January 2024, guess what? Only 24%. We are houses, we are getting price drops. That is a strategy, something you're going to have to learn. You got to blow the dust off whatever that presentation is to get those price drops. Now, here's the other thing. I think the reason we're getting more of them is we're having that conversation on the front end. We're no longer just saying, oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah, we'll throw a price on it, whatever we price it at, it's going to sell. Okay. I think we're getting more price drops. I don't know the exact numbers on the amount of the price drops, but the reality is the sellers are listening to you. Start having those conversations. Don't think that, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to drop the price and everybody's going to freak out, right? Start. This is a great slide to show your seller. Here's what we're seeing. We're seeing more price drop. We're getting pushback on some of those early pricing strategies that we're making in the market. Distressed sales. You know what, guys? 2% or below, it might as well be zero. Right? We've not started to see the foreclosures, short sales. We've just not started to see that business show up yet. Some of you know, and you build great businesses around that. It's not really out there. Same with underwater homes. Underwater would be, I owe more than my home is worth. Guess what? Q3 of 2024, about 1.8, right? Historical averages were about 6%. So we're way off the price. There's equity out there. There's equity out there, and the folks are in a great position to sell. Anybody remember, by a show of hands, when you went to the closing and your sellers wrote a check? They didn't get a check. They wrote a check. Anybody remember that? Going to need one person to raise their hand, Kristen Brockett. Okay, good. Kristen remembers. Fantastic. She's playing along. Oh, we got, yeah. All right. I got the timekeeper here next to me. New home sales. Guys, you could see where we cratered back there from 2008 to 2015. We lost that inventory. The interesting thing is, if you look at that trend line of about the 650 number, right? Here's the reality is we've still not made up that period of time from 08 to 2016. We're up where we need to be, but we've still got a deficit. New home sales are still going to have to show up. Why haven't they? Well, there's been some challenges for builders and developers. You guys have followed this, right? Land is super expensive. Material costs are tough. Labor shortages, right? We don't know what's going to necessarily happen, the new administration and things like that around that. Those are all those pieces. And we all remember the transition in material costs with profitability for our builder partners, right? This is just something we put on there. You guys have seen it. Let's make sure we're having a conversation. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Home insurance, you know what? It's the prices have gone up. Have they gone up to a point to where it's going to limit someone's ability to buy? No. And yet, at the same time, too, it is something to be aware of. Some people you talk to, they'll tell you, talk to some of your partners in insurance, they'll tell you they don't see this changing for a while. So it's up to, let's say, 10%. I mean, think about it, $700 a year, premium goes up $70. Might not be the difference in people buying. Don't be the person that's quoting them something that's basically reflecting something that's just not really feasible, right? NAR. Now, this is the information that's in NAR. We gave you the QR code. We'll give it to you again. First-time home buyers, that part of our market. Look at that percentage of first-time home buyers. 24% in 2024. It's the lowest number up here since 2000. It's a low number. These first-time home buyers, they're sitting on the sideline. Why is that? Well, one of the reasons why is the average age, this you ought to write down, the average age of a first-time home buyer, 38 years old. That's crazy. Christian Brockett's 2 years away from that. Wow, you guys are just dialed in, right? I can't see everybody laughing and everything carrying on. Primary reason for purchasing a home, we talked about this a little earlier. Larger home. I want to own a home for the first time, right? Closer to my family and friends, a better area. My family situation changes. All of these things. Guys, if you notice, interest rates is not on there. You can go down to affordability, and we've already talked about that. You can reference that previous slide, and it talks about affordability. Weeks in home search, I thought this was pretty interesting. It's somewhere since 03 between, if you look at the average between 03 and now, it's 10. 22, 23, 24, it's about the same. They're not finding houses faster. They're staying in the search for about 10 weeks, right? First step in your home buying process, guys, this is super important, right? Look for properties online. That's not really changed. That's pretty much, right there with it. Contacted a real estate agent, 21%. That was their first step. So online and contacting an agent 64% of the time. So if you're wondering about your place, incidentally, 21% in 2024, that's the highest it's ever been for contacting a real estate agent. Some of you might be a little shocked there. Information they use, real estate agent, 86%. You are essential. You are essential. Buyers are using you at an extremely high percent. 88 is the highest it's ever been. We're at 86%. So whatever you've been telling yourself, whatever you think you've read, whatever you think you saw, whoever's out there, preaching the fear on the internet, the reality is the buyers have spoken. And guess what? They found their home that they purchased on the internet using a real estate agent. 80% of the time. 80% of the time. You guys can look at some of these others. It's interesting what has fallen off to a really, really low level. Two things. 2024, 88% of the buyers used an agent to purchase their home. 88% used an agent. We started talking about our value. Guess what? Those numbers are getting more solid. 90% of the sellers used an agent to sell their home. Now, I got a little FSBO note down here. Less than 6% less than 6% were for sale by owner. That's a 30-year all-time low. Again, are you important? Are you valuable? Are you essential? Absolutely, right? Absolutely. So, guys, if you see a FSBO out there, there's a great conversation to show them, right? There's a great conversation to show them. It goes on the bottom, method used to sell home, sold homes with an agent or broker, 90%. For sale by owner, 6%. You know why that is? Because they make more money and they get the price that they want and they desire to have, right? 57, right? That's if we take the 40% of buyers that were referred by a friend, right? And add that to the 17% that use their previous agent. So 50%, right, are looking for those relationships with the agent. On the seller side of things, 38% were referred by a friend, neighbor, relative, 28% used a previous agent. So again, overwhelmingly, 66% the sellers referred by a friend or somebody they've used before. And you guys can look at these charts, right? You can look at these charts, and when someone comes up with one of these ideas about, this is what I'm going to do, talk to them about it, right? What do they want from you? 74%. That's if we basically say they want you help finding the right home to purchase, negotiating the terms, and helping with price negotiations. Interesting. 74%. On the seller side, 75%. Hey, one of the reasons you got more sellers choose me and to choose to do business with me is, I excel in pricing, marketing homes competitively, and also work diligently in your time frame to find the right buyer to purchase for the best price, to sell their home in the shortest amount of time for the most amount of money with the least amount of hassles. Has that changed? No. No. And this information is coming from the buyers and sellers that are out there. You got to be first. And here's the thing, the way you're first, you have to contact them. You have to work your database. You have to ask the people you're in business with and you've done business with, and the people that that know, like, and trust you. You've got to ask them, who do you know that might need help with real estate this year? Because 75% of the time, one agent. Sellers, 81% of the time, one agent. Interesting. That 81% number, historically, that's well above average. Interesting that from 22 to 24, it went up to 81 and it's held there. So when they tell you, oh, we're going to talk to a couple other agents, we've got some other people we're going to meet with, that's a what? That's an objection. The first thing you do is isolate that. Hey, I really appreciate that, you wanting to speak to some other agents. Other than talking to another agent, is there any other reason why we couldn't go ahead and move forward this evening? That's trial close, right? As an investment, here's the deal. 80% see it as a good investment. 80, right? Better than stocks, 49%. 35, just as good. So again, the overwhelming numbers is no one is listening to I was going to say clowns. Shouldn't say that. That's anybody see the folks on the internet that want to just can keep with the whole buying a house isn't a good investment? Yeah, nobody believes that. So incidentally, and it's because it's not true, right? All right. Will I use my agent again? 73%, definitely. Sellers, 72%, definitely. Interesting thing is our numbers go up into over 80 when we get into the folks that say probably. Guys, they see you as the way, right? They see you as the way. Buyers and sellers for repeats and referral. 59% very satisfied. 33% somewhat satisfied. We're doing a good job out there. We're doing solid work. On the seller side, it's interesting. It goes up to 68. Might be an opportunity there on that buy side, probably for a high level of communication, perhaps, right? Set better expectations. Incentives, guess what? They don't really attract buyers. Sorry. 76%, no incentives. Assistance with closing costs, 9%. They want a great experience, team. They don't want you to throw money at them. They want you to tell them what you're going to do and then do what you tell them. That's how you ultimately win. So vision speech slides, guys, the whole thing is in there, the whole kit and caboodle. The NAR profile of home buyers and sellers, that's brand agnostic. That's the NAR. That's all the stuff, all the things. If you don't have those QR codes, snap them and get those into your deal.
Okay, guys, that was a lot of data. Did you guys write some stuff down? Did you guys get some good data? Are you alive?
I put them in a coma. I'm pretty sure I put them in a coma.
We could do that. Yeah, Gary did this speech in about 3 hours. So we picked out some real critical numbers we thought you guys would benefit from. And you will have the full vision speech slides, and Gary's actual recorded vision speech is in KW Connect. Quickly.
Hold on one second. I just want to say, guys, you're probably going into an appointment. If you're utilizing some of that material, you're taking maybe 2 or 3 slides. Okay. Yeah. It's not a presentation. Just think of the objections that you're hearing. There's some great things there for that logical thinker, right? Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so we're going to wrap up and let you guys get into your local market centers for some more fun on FR. But I wanted to share with you 2 things. One is you have an opportunity to attend Mega Camp for free. And here's how this is going to work. How can you attend Mega Camp for free? If you refer one capper guest and they meet with your local market center team leader and they attend, you're going to get a half of a reimbursement for the cost of your ticket. Tickets are about $9.99 right now, so you're going to get half off your ticket. If you do that 2 times, we will reimburse the full cost of your ticket to Mega Camp. And if you do it 3 times, we will reimburse the cost of your ticket plus a main cabin flight reimbursement to get you there. Okay. So this one, Mega Camp is in San Antonio this year in August, and we would love to have another big group go, and we want to have a way for you to get there at the lowest cost possible. As we said before, you can also take money out of each of your closings to set aside, or a little bit on each of your office bills to apply. So let's talk contest, and then we're out of here. We're going to do a contest every month for you guys. And this month's contest is, we want you to pull out your cell phones. We want you to open up social media. You can do Facebook or you can do Instagram. You're going to make a post about a data point that you heard in the slides today. So I just gave you an example. Hey, I just learned that 43% of home buyers look online for properties as the very first part of their home buying process, and 21% contact a real estate agent prior to that. What is the first step for you when you're purchasing a home? So that's the example. You need to tag your market center. So check in with the little red check-in button and check into your market center. And then you can either tag Bo and I, or just comment in your own post so I can find it. I've got to be able to go find all the people that put data out there and put you in a drawing. By the end of the day today, we will be doing a live drawing, and we'll get that out to you guys so you can know. And as I shared before, it'll be live. You can either do a private lunch with Bo and I, and we'll mastermind any topic of your choice, whether it's wealth building, family business, MREA teams, leadership, or if you want, we'll give you $100 gift card or DoorDash credit to use as you see fit.
If you choose option 2, it won't hurt my feelings a
He's
lot.
kidding.
It may be just a little, just a little.
It will hurt his feelings, but we will go.
I'll be fine. I'll be devastated, but I'll recover.
I hope you guys got some great value from that. There's so much great information. Thanks for letting us break it apart for you. And you guys go have fun in your local market centers. See you guys.
You guys, take care.
There's like 68 slides that we just went through.
And we threw you in the deep end. It was in Vegas. So what takeaways you had?
Man, I would say than just real estate. And I was able to get value out of it. If you were an agent and you're thinking, you know, I really struggle with social, or I don't like social, I want to do something else, or I need to step up my event game, there's something literally there for you to learn. I think maybe the 3 biggest takeaways that I wrote down is, you know, looking at your real estate as not a job, it's business. And it's not just a business, you're the business. What was it, Jay-Z that said, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. But looking at it that way, like, is what you provide an investable business to other people? Is it a business to where if you took a step back for a week, that it can keep running a little bit? You know, that kind of comes from how you work your database. Another thing that, probably the biggest thing that I got was auditing your time. And that kind of goes with the first thing. Treat it as a business, you can audit your time. We all have the same amount of time every week. It's just how we spend it. You know, the 80-20, they say 80-20, they hit you over the head with that. But it's so true, because there's so many times that we just sit around and, I mean, whatever your role is, however you're doing, you're not doing revenue generating activities. And so they kind of give you ideas, here's what you do. And also, I think one of the biggest ones, I mean, Phil and Jones was the best thing. If I just flew down there, had 2 red eyes instead of just one, and saw Phil Jones and flew back, I had my money's worth.
And Phil Jones is the guy who wrote exactly what to say. He's done, I think, an incredible thing by partnering with Keller Williams. He's been at the last couple family reunions. He's got a basically some sort of partnership deal with us, and he pours into our people, and he does not waste the word. If you want to get better at your scripts, about your conversations, and how to unlock objections, or really just how to talk to people in a way that you present completely as a professional, and you both get the outcome you both wanted. Phil Jones is, I don't know if there's anyone better in sales.
No,
It sucks, so you don't wanna do red eyes, so that shows you how much.
yeah, just for sure. But no, his was all about, you know, balancing. We all like to have lots of conversations. We'd all love that. We'd all love to have conversations all day long about real estate. Fantastic, awesome. But his was more about having efficient conversations. So you're not just having a lot of conversations, you're actually getting to the point, and it's not just all, you know, hitting each other over the head again about real estate. You know, he teaches you how to, well, he also says, don't you dare call me and try to touch my base. You know, those kind of things, like, hey, I'm here to follow up, I'm here to touch base, I'm checking in, like using those words that as a person out there, you hear them and you're like, you know, what are they gonna sell me now? So he kind of talks you through how to just literally eliminate those terms in your everyday conversations. You know, I think maybe the last thing I probably thought about yesterday when Joseph asked me to say something, I kind of referenced all of this back. You know, I know that we filled out GPSs start of the year. Who's 1/6 of the way through their GPS? I'm gonna put my hand down. You know, but it's kind of also, you know, that comes back to auditing your time, but it also comes down to, you know, we threw 15 things out there that we wanted to do this year. If you have completed all 15, you want 1/6 of the 15, awesome. If you're not at the goal that you want, maybe you didn't have the right 15. And then it also comes down to, if you got them all and didn't hit what you had, then there's more time in there for you. So yeah, kind of, you know, it comes back to auditing what you're doing every day, you know, what actually matters. You know, I'm a big dork with what we do, and I love tracking the numbers and all that, and I'll talk about that until I'm blue in the face, but that's another day.
All right, thanks, Steven. All right, Dustin, what about you?
I learned that.
Casino, what were you?
Did you know that you're supposed to assume the down card is a 10? I mean, it was a heck of a week. I mean, I think there's a couple of sessions right off that really made the trip worth it. I mean, the CEO summit, and a couple of those panels, I just, you know, there's valuable nugs. It's going to lead to exponential growth, hopefully within our team as well as our market center. Hopefully we come back and pass some of that along to you all, which I guess is what we're doing today. But the first day of the CEO summit, I mean, there was 5 people up there talking. Each had like their own little spiel, but they all kind of tied together. Gary's really genius when he sequences those things. But you know, taking care of yourself, I think, is the most important thing. You know, commit to self-mastery, physically, mentally, professionally. Work on stress management. Was it the first lady that spoke about managing stress and like your emotions? Yeah, Dr. Robin. your emotions that you experience typically only last 90 seconds if you allow them to. Like, sit in that moment, take it in for what it is and let it go. I think the real big aha is the birthday cake candles. You know, when you're feeling stressed, feeling overwhelmed, just take a deep breath in and blow those candles out. Make a huge difference, because if you don't deal with stress the right way, of course, that can lead up, and those emotions can last more than 90 seconds and up to 7 years. So
That was the takeaway, right? Like, emotions are going to last 90 seconds or 2 minutes. Be in that moment, have that emotion, deal with it, and then let it go. Because when we hold on to our emotions or those feelings, the research shows that you can hold on to that for 7 years. So I don't know where you all were 7 years ago. But if you've not processed something, deal with it, take the deep breath, right? I guess what I'm gonna say is make sure that you all, look, real estate, being a commissioned salesperson, doing what we do is extremely stressful and it's high stakes. And we get paid a lot of money to do it, but take the time to take care of yourself. And I'll just say this, you're gonna wanna do the birthday cake exercise before you call that client back. You're gonna do that birthday cake exercise before you call that agent back. Like, make sure you take care of yourself and take care of your people, and just hack some, I think, stressors, so that they don't last.
She's got a podcast called Resiliency Redefined, and it's literally the speech that she gave over a series of podcasts. So if any of this is like, oh, that's interesting, highly recommend Resiliency Redefined. It's a really great podcast. The episodes are like 25 minutes a piece, and she goes over everything that she went over in that speech. So
What was her full name?
I don't, it's just, she just goes by Dr. Robin. Yeah.
Henley Defoe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, can I add something
Yeah.
to the stress and how we dwell on our stress and emotion? And then for 7 years, we hold on to that changes to our personality and it becomes us. So I just wanted to add that too.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it can, you know, create even
I just-
worse stuff,
Yeah.
like inside internally, right?
Mhm.
Health issues, stuff of that nature, so it's not good.
All of
Keep
the
it bottled.
disease and all of that,
That's
why are
right.
they coming up? Because, you're not taking care of yourself.
That's right. And I think she had, what, 5 key things to focus
5
on
pillars.
for, what was it?
The 5 pillars.
Yeah, do you remember what those were?
So 5 pillars of everyday resiliency. It's hope, humor,
Hydration?
We're gonna get it out.
yeah, we'll get it
All
out.
the
It's-
graphics and stuff.
There's 5 of them, and it all goes down to the people who have a high resiliency piece. Like, not everybody's gonna be resilient once, then you're resilient forever. It ebbs and flows, but those who are resilient in the moments that matter have these 5 pillars that they all live by. And it all kind of comes down to somebody to lean on, some sort of connectivity, something to focus on, a way to stay hopeful. And then it turns out highly resilient people are super funny and usually in like HR violation ways. So,
Hey, cussing is a good thing.
and
That's what she said.
yeah, and not just to
Okay.
cuss, but to like let their emotions out, they let it out through.
Not direct necessarily
Yeah.
in one, but.
They tend to live longer, so. Yeah.
All right, anything else to add, Louise?
Oh, I got a million things.
It better be good.
I thought I had more time. I would say, like, I gotta sum it up. Link, and I may have this backwards, but link your passion with your purpose. Or link your purpose with your passion. I think it goes either way,
Yeah,
right?
it goes that way.
And what I mean by that, I think sometimes we overcomplicate things, like just the thing we just talked about, the mental health stuff, the ways to manage stress, like, don't overcomplicate it. You don't need a GPS for a plan on self-mastery. Want one? Sure, that's your thing. But I think you have to reevaluate your lead gen models if you're not doing lead gen right now, right? You're not doing it for a reason. It's tough. Now, I'm not saying don't do those tough things, because by doing those tough things, gonna make you tougher as a person and as a professional. However, be seeking and pursuing things that do bring you energy, that you look forward to in doing and building relationships with people, because that's what's gonna not only help you flourish in this business, but grow and be happy and, you know, keep that stress to the minimum, right? So that you don't have to spend all your time managing stress. So one of the classes I went to was like 20 lead gen hacks. And there was so many good ideas in there that, you know, some I had thought of, some that I had already heard of, with a different spin on there. For example, one guy, he farms his neighborhood and that's it. And I think he had 50% market share in that one neighborhood. And his big thing, his big niche was front yard parks. So he invited his sphere and some of his neighbors to his front yard. I think it was like at least once a quarter, might have been Lincoln. And he has like a little section set up for the adults to eat and, you know, have maybe some wine or some drinks. And then he has another section where, you know, for the kids, like inflatables, and that aligned with his life because he has kids too, right? And more than likely, you have kids, you probably hang out with people similar age that have kids as well. So according to your people, that was just one good reason, or a good idea. Another good idea was like a margarita machine. I think a lot of these are on the NREA podcast, so check those out. But this agent, I can't remember where he's at, so forgive me. Logged out his margarita machine, put his contact info in there, or on the machine, got 2 deals. So what he do with those 2 commission checks, went and bought 2 more margarita machines. Then he bought chocolate fondue and popcorn machines, and then before you know it, he's got a whole like rental company. But he's getting a lot of repeat referral business that way.
And he doesn't charge, or his sphere can just say, hey, can I borrow that chocolate fondue thing for this event that I've got? And they have meetups, and I think they ended up hiring an employee at one point to go sit at the storage unit and like sign out these pieces. And so everybody in his neighborhood knows that if you need anything for a party, you go to him. And everybody knows if you need anything in real estate, you go to him.
That's right. Last but not least, the experiences piece I think is invaluable. And what are we doing to provide our people with peace in their experience when they're working with us? Because we can't control the valleys, right? Surprises happen, things come up that are unforeseeable. What are we doing in those moments and throughout that process to bring them back up to a 10 if they're in a 3 or 4 kind of emotion? Because there was a really good speaker on that first day. I can't remember his name, but he talked about going to Disneyland. And he said, if you were to chart that experience at different, at different times of the day, you know, you're there, you just arrived, everybody's excited, you're probably an A. The next day, you go to the park, you're in there, you're in line for the first roller coaster, or you're in the roller coaster, and you're probably at 7, right? And then you're at lunch with the kids, it's 110, you're sweating, you're probably at 3. Right, and then you go into the next line at 2 o'clock and you're there for 2 hours, it's 115 degrees. You're probably at 2. And then at the end of the whole trip, if you were to ask them how was Disneyland, they're gonna say 10 out of 10 is excellent, right? So what made it that 10 out of 10 was those peak moments throughout their experience there. Like, did they have a bad time occasionally? Well, sure. And if you were to take an average of those different periods of time while they were at the park, they're probably at 5.5 to 6. So it just goes to show, like, if you go above and beyond for your clients, communicate with them, set the proper expectations, even though surprises come up, you do everything you can in your power, they're gonna give you a 5 out of 5 on Google, on Zillow. Yeah, they're gonna give you repeat referral business.
I guess last thing, you know, Kristen on her talk talked about like getting indoors, meeting people. I think all I've done in the last year is just bust down doors, but it is important to just kind of get in, kind of rub shoulders with the right people and level up a little bit.
Yeah, just talk to people, deepen those relationships. Helping other people. Yeah, that's all I got.
Cool, appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
If you guys have interest in going to Mega Agent Camp, it's not the same as family reunion, but it is a really great experience. You'll learn a lot, and if you go like, Chris and the team leader in Cincinnati talked about, if you go with the purpose of creating a referral network, 9 times out of 10, it will pay for the trip through the referral networks and those kinds of things. So, if you want to go to Mega Agent Camp, we have that opportunity. Just get in conversation with Joseph, for, capital referrals and those type of things. The price is gonna go up, so if you wanna if you know you wanna go to Mega Agent Camp, get on it now. And if you need help with that, just let us know, in any way, so.
What the cost on that?
Right now, Mega Agent is at $9.99, I think that price will go up. Also, I don't know if they're for sale yet, but Family Reunion next year is going to be in Atlanta. Which is a nice hop, skip and a jump, from here, you don't have to change time zones, hallelujah.
Finally on the East Coast.
Yep, so those of you that didn't go to Family Reunion because you love Vegas, you now have no excuse, so. Put it on the calendar, it's gonna be a great time, I'm sure that there are gonna be people driving. Or one of those, and you guys want to start finding partners now, start finding roommates, looking at flights and that kind of stuff now, highly recommend doing so because it is going to be so much nicer than it is so much closer to us. So, all right, last but not least, we have Carrie. She brought us our biscuits this morning, so we're gonna do it for the floor.
Thank you.
I want to know about this reunion for my first time this year, guys, it's so fun, it's so worth it, and I'm not even a licensed real estate agent, I work with agents and brokers, but you can get so much out of it. I got so much out of it as a non-licensed agent, but yeah, super excited to be here today. My name is Carrie Arnold. I'm the broker development representative for Seller Shield. Who here has heard of Seller Shield? Anyone? Yeah, 1, 2, a couple. Okay, awesome. Well, this will just be a refresher for you guys, but for those of you who haven't, I'm super excited to tell you. We have been around for over 8 years. We're not a new company. We have protected over 100,000 sellers. We have done over 426,000 disclosures, and we are currently active in the states that are highlighted in yellow. We are growing rapidly this year. We have some integrations with some platforms that are really causing us to grow rapidly. So if you know anybody in different states, have them put their information in our website and we'll let them know once we're available. And that. So how many of you do believe that post-sale claims and lawsuits can happen? Show of hands.
Do that.
Yeah, good. Glad to hear. Oh.
Almost glad to hear.
So Seller Shield has had a number of increase in post-sale claims every year after year. What number do you guys think that might be? 100, 50, 35, or 2%?
35, 2, 50.
Winner, you win. It's 35%, guys. And year after year, it's been at least 35%, and that's just at Seller Shield alone. Claims happen outside of that. This is for people who actually purchased our home sale legal protection that we know about.
Right.
What documents do you guys think are most commonly involved?
Disclosures, seller disclosure.
Perfect, yes. That's number 1. Also agent marketing materials and MLS statements. What do you guys think the top issues are on this?
Lack of disclosure?
Definitely that, but what like in specific do you think was not disclosed on?
Foundation.
Yes. Foundation. Plumbing,
Roof.
water damage, so yes, all of those things, yes, but these are the top 3 that we see coming in with disclosure issues. This is an actual story that we had. Scott showed up in his driveway, got handed a lawsuit. He had, thanks to his agent, purchased our home sale legal protection, and we saved him over $19,000.
2 years after the sale.
2 years after.
Jeez.
So I will give you a small stat that most of the claims that we see coming in are between months 10 and 14. So
What's the statute of limitations?
it depends, it's different for every state. So we have some packages that are up to 4 years. I'm not sure what the statute of limitations is here in Kentucky. I should look. I know in Texas it's 2. That's right. I live in Austin. So we were created at Seller Shield to solve 2 big unfairnesses. The first one is that the sellers are the only ones in a wholesale transaction that don't have any type of protection. You guys know y'all have E&O insurance, everyone has some type of protection title except for the seller. And the second, which is where you guys come in, is that if the seller gets sued, then the agents and the brokers almost always get drug in as well, which is obviously unfair. 95% of the claims that come in are from the disclosures. So we created 2 products, our gold standard disclosure process. Think of this as like a TurboTax for the disclosure statement. And then the home sale legal protection, which is kind of like an E&O insurance that you guys have, but this is specifically for the seller. A little bit more about our gold standard disclosure process. This actually uses the same state forms you guys already use for the seller's disclosure. We just take that, we partner with the state board, and we digitize it and make it interactive. It's gonna have expandable fields, tips, definitions, and it kind of guides the seller through the entire form. It's gonna give you back a 100% complete and signed form every time, which is gonna save you a ton of time. You don't have to keep going back to your seller and saying, hey, you missed this initial, you missed this signature. Our form won't even allow them to send it to you until everything's completed. Best part about this, guys, is it's completely free. And so this costs you nothing, this costs your seller nothing, the brokerage nothing. This is just a tool that our co-founder created to try to help alleviate potential lawsuits happening and to keep you guys out of the courtroom. So really, it's a great tool. I highly recommend checking it out. The next thing that we created, so unfortunately, even if your sellers accurately, thoroughly disclose, people can still sue. You can't stop people from being crazy, guys. It's just that type of environment. So if this is optional though, completely optional, if your seller chooses to purchase this at the first sign of trouble, we would hire them a local expert real estate attorney. We would provide them support from start to finish, and we would pay up to $75,000 of their legal defense fees, just depending upon which package they chose. All of our packages though do cost less than 1 hour legal consultation. So it's just kind of peace of mind for your seller post-closing or for you as the agent post-closing. But again, it's optional, and even if they just use the free tool, that is also reducing legal risk and exposure. Next is kind of our pricing. This is our 2 packages. Like I said, the majority of our claims that come in are between months 10 and 14, which our 2-year protection package covers. This is our most popular package. It's for $30,000 of legal defense coverage. And if they choose, we have 2 ways to pay with all of our packages. They can pay now for a discount with like a credit card, or they can always have it taken out of closing proceeds. Prices jump up just slightly because it's a little more manpower to collect from title and things like that. Some of our higher end, more luxury clients, or if the statute of limitations is a little bit higher in that state, that's why we provide this 4-year complete protection package. And then we do have some seller pricing. Some of our agents like to use this as like a way to win listings, or even a way to set themselves apart, like a post-closing gift. So we offer a 1, 2, and 3-year protection package for our agents. You guys can purchase any of the 5. But again, this is all optional. Typically the seller is the one who purchases it. We just have we have some agents that like that. Same goes for you guys though, pay now with a discount, or you can always have it taken out of closing proceeds. That's kind of the gist of what we do. The next I'm going to show you is kind of the experience. So if you go in, it's super easy, guys. I want everyone to get their phones out, scan this QR code. You can, it's completely free. Again, it takes you 20 seconds to set a password. And you can even send yourself a test invite so you can see exactly what it will look like to send to your sellers. If you're going to do that, just make sure you use a different email address to send yourself a test invite than you use to sign up, because it'll think you're the agent, mess it up a little bit. So as you go in, this is what your platform will look like. It's going to obviously say your name here, and to invite your seller, you just select this little middle button right here. It's going to then take you to, any of you guys use Dotloop or yes? Okay, we have an integration with Dotloop, which is amazing. It makes it even easier. You would just select this button and it would go, and you can select the loop, and it's going to auto-populate all of that information right here, and then it will, whenever they complete the PDF, it'll go back into your Dotloop. But all you're going to do to invite your seller is put their name, property address, email address, and phone number, and then you'll be able to select from the available forms. If you don't want to have both, you don't have to. If you want both, then you can send them that. At that point, you will have the option to purchase protection for your seller. Again, not required. You can select no protection. They can move forward and use the tool for free. At that point, it'll take you back to your main page, and you'll be able to see all of your current disclosures right there. You'll be able to see if they purchased the protection, the status that disclosure is in. So if they haven't signed it, it's still invited, you can, ping your seller and say, hey, you haven't gotten to this disclosure. Make sure you go in and fill that out. And then you can send them a reminder here, like I said, you can edit that invitation. Any disclosures that are completed will be right here in the middle. It'll be a PDF copy. You're also gonna get, you and the seller will get that copy emailed to you as well. So if you don't wanna have to log back into Seller Shield or your Dotloop, it'll be in your email address as well. This is exactly what the email will look like that goes to your seller. It's just gonna let them know that you as the agent are inviting them to develop their disclosure using Seller Shield. They'll select the Start Now button. And then it's gonna take them to this page where it will auto-populate the information that you've already input. They're gonna wanna make sure that everything's correct. Their name's spelled correct, the property address is correct. And then at that point, they would set a password so that they also have access on their dashboard. And then it's gonna let them know two important pieces of information. One, that disclosure forms are legal documents, and that even with accurate disclosure, buyers can still sue sellers. This is my favorite part, you guys, of this form, is that the seller has to check right here that they understand the risks and responsibilities that come with disclosing information on their home. This is separating you as the agent from this form, which is huge, because you guys don't want to get drug into a lawsuit that you have nothing to do with. And then at that point, the seller, if you did not purchase it for them, will be offered the opportunity to purchase protection. Again, they too can select no protections, still move forward, use the tool for free. And then it's gonna walk them through the disclosure. So they'll be able to see the percentage that they've completed. They can't skip around from section to section. They can say, go out and come back in, but they can't move from understanding your risk to risk checker. They have to complete each section. They're going to be give them definitions of things like what's a watershed, stuff that they might have to typically go back and ask you as the agent or Google. Our form is designed to answer that for them. There's also legal tips in a video. So there's legal tips on, things with the disclosure form and why they want to be careful with that. Video is actually our co-founder, who was a 25-year real estate attorney. He actually worked for Keller Williams. So we'd love to have you. And then right here, it's going to flag them for common problem areas. So areas where we see lawsuits coming in, it's going to flag your seller and say, hey, slow down here, take your time, make sure you answer, accurately.
Cool.
And then, like I said, they have to answer every question, yes or no. They can't move forward without that. And then they'll sign, date, initial that document, and then you and the seller, like I said, will receive a PDF custom copy emailed to you, as well as be stored in both dashboards. That's what the email will look like. And then, like I said, they can access it from their dashboard. And this is what it will look like, guys, coming from Seller Shield. Over here on the right hand side, it's custom, fully legible, neat, stamped by Seller Shield so that they know they've been protected. And then if any of you guys have transaction coordinators or an admin that does your stuff for you, you have a new feature. They can actually set up their own accounts, send disclosures on behalf of the agent. They can connect with multiple agents, different agents. Just a really nice feature for them to not have to log into your account. Yeah. And that's pretty much the end of it, guys. Any questions for y'all? Make sure you scan the QR code if you have not yet.
Nifty. Yeah.
Awesome.
And we'll put her contact information and the 2 pricing slides in the internal group. If you have any questions and need anything from her, please reach out. And she should be in contact with you guys too. So.
Absolutely. And I have some listing packet flyers that I'm going to share with Hallie that she can distribute to you. That makes it easy to prepare this presentation. And yeah, I'll leave some business cards out too. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. But thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Yeah.
But that's it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Oh, you guys. It's Jackie. Coming into team in the ACA role. She will be here throughout the week, 3 days a week, and then work remotely 2 days a week. She'll be starting at 10. 9:15 to every day. Yeah. So if you need anything, please continue to email that KRW958 email. And her and Tristan will be working together to get all of that stuff done. But I wanted to introduce her since she was in the room with us.
Welcome to the team.
What
time what is yours? 1?